Bazaar.
Perfect. So thank you so much for joining us today for this roundtable. We all have been very excited for this specific roundtable because it comes with a very specific cause. So Slow Textiles in association with the Yarn Bazaar brings you the roundtable on Color Ashram Foundation's Natural Color Festival. Quick introduction about the event that's going to happen in January very soon. So Ahmedabad's first natural dyes color festival by Color Ashram Foundation and Slow Textiles happening between 19th to 21st Jan 2024, which is 2 months from now, offers a very unique 3-day experience. All 3 days there are different activities which are planned for a very engaging event. Day one focusing on education with very hands-on natural dyeing experience, while day two and three throw some spotlight on businesses with say 20 to 25 exhibitors, a refresh station with dyeing old clothes, buy supply meetings, and also a showcase of slow textiles value chain. And last but not the least, the festival also includes national artist participation and dynamic performances, including a street style theater fashion show. Everyone's really excited for this and look forward to a very engaging roundtable and very interesting conversation with all four of you here.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
excited.
So I have some specific questions for each one of you, but before we get into that, it would be great if we can just take 2 minutes and briefly, summarize who you are. So just, your quick profile for the audience to then understand who we have on the panel. Let's start with you, Namrata.
Hi, I'm Namrata Bhutodia, and I'm the co-founder of Color Ashram Foundation. And I'm the founder of a brand called Biome Conscious Fashion that makes only clothes with natural dyes. And Color Ashram is a natural color academy for training for application of natural dyes. And yeah, is that enough?
Sure.
Yeah.
Mainly we're looking at who you are and what do you do. So I think you've summarized that very well. Abul, if you can go next.
Hi, I'm Aboli Naik. I am textile technologist and I am working as associate professor at NIFT Mumbai, Department of Fashion Technology from last 15 years. And I basically teach textile manufacturing subject, and last almost 13 years I'm teaching sustainable production, one of the course in BF Tech program. Is it
Great.
enough?
Yes.
Yeah.
Prerna.
Hi, I'm Prerna. I'm a fashion designer. I like to also call myself an environmentalist in some form. And I have brought these two together, to passionately start Origin Studio. So I work majorly with in circular fashion, but also with a lot of hand-loomed, organic, and naturally dyed clothing. So my idea is to make fashion fun without affecting Mother Nature. So yeah.
That's great. Arun.
Yeah, my history goes back around 35 years. So started my career with recycling textile chemical waste, which went for 15 years, treating the chemical which comes out from processing of textile industries and converting it to another product for another industry. From there, from that got enlightened for the pollution which is there anyways, and which inspired me to come into natural dyeing, which is we're doing for last 25 years. I mean, the very first time when I started dyeing, the idea was to bring dyes in the market so that everybody can use the dyes for textile, but it was not easy. So I had to learn every process of textile. So I had to put in textile setup myself for dyeing. So I've been dyeing for 25 years now. We have a regular dyeing setup on natural dyes with organic cotton. And very recently now we have introduced the dyes and technology for other people to use. That is where the Color Ashram collaboration also comes in.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for introducing yourself. First Natural Dyes Color Festival by Color Ashram Foundation and Slow Textiles. Before we begin, want to get your 2 cents, just an opening thought. In your opinion, how significant is the role of natural dyes in addressing pollution within the textile industry, and what motivated you to engage with this topic?
So you're addressing me, right?
Sure,
Yeah.
we can start with you.
So the natural dyes, I think, is the way out for what is happening in all the textile sector or the processing part of textile. which is one of the major cause of a lot of water pollution, environmental hazards, carbon footprint. So natural dye is, according to us, is the way out for it. I've been working on recycling textile waste and now on natural dyes for more than 30 years now, or about 25, 30 years. And I've come to a conclusion that the way out, if possible, we want to have for the kind of requirement market has can only come through evolution of natural dyes. So that is where we stand right now, and there is, I feel, a lot of possibilities looking at all these years been spent on the process and the processing.
Sure. Abuli, what are your thoughts on this?
I feel it's quite important to go ahead with natural dyes in future, but I somehow feel we cannot replace 100% of synthetic dyes with natural dyes because there are still some challenges. So if we exploit the economy of scale principle for natural dyes, we might use it more potentially for the mainstream apparel and textiles. But still we'll have some share of synthetic dyes, chemical dyes, maybe low impact dyes or some other innovations which are coming right now will play some role. So definitely it has potential, but right now, I think immediate future mainstream, it's still very limited. Only certain percentage of textiles and apparels are dyed with natural dyes. And there is a lot of gray area. People say that they are using natural dyes, but somewhere there are people who are, you can say, diluting the authenticity of the people who are here, who are actually devoting a lot of their time and energy in promoting natural dyes.
Sure. Prerna, your thoughts, again, the role of natural dyes and what motivates you.
So I agree with Aboli, ma'am. I mean, surprisingly, this is not a very black and white world that we live in. It is so gray that I don't think unless magically the population reduces by some chance and everybody turns to slow living, we cannot do away with the entire idea of synthetic dyes because there are a lot of livelihoods dependent on a lot of things. But I feel we are at the cusp and the starting of the industry before the industry is booming, before sustainability has begun. We are here and we're talking about things like this. And I feel we are in some way catalysts of that change that is about to come. And I think there are a lot of laws already implemented on sustainability in terms of the kind of pollution that you're allowed to cause and all of that. So I feel in some ways, sustainability will definitely grow in the near future. You cannot completely shift, of course, not within at least the next 10 years, but maybe after that, if everybody changes their mindset about living, then yes.
How about you, Namrata?
Well, I have a little different take on this, that we humans are very arrogant. Since many, many hundreds of years, we've been trying to solve the problem of, let's say, poverty, violence, many other things. And I think these are problems for which there is no quick solution or a solution that we can say, okay, if we do this, this will happen. I think this is too arrogant to say, but we know that we can only try some solutions and then new things will also emerge from it. So looking at a problem and trying to fix a solution for it is not the right approach, what I feel. But looking at a problem and checking how we are doing it and do we have options. So natural dyeing is one of the options, which, as Aboli also said, that along with synthetic dyeing, it could be one of the things. Likewise, as Prerna said, slow fashion. Likewise, maybe reusing, or maybe some other dyes also come into the scene which are ecological. So it has to be many kinds of actions, many kind of mindsets and approach to this thing. So I feel like there's no one single solution to things like this. It's a huge problem. Textile pollution is a big one on our hand right now. But surely natural dye has a very, very strong potential to be one of the small solution in this big problem. That's what I feel.
I like how you pointed out the problem of pollution. Even we strongly feel, and it's a fact that textile is probably the second most polluting industry in the world. Now, of course, there are many factors that lead to this pollution, which is the textile waste that goes to landfill, the fashion industry contributing majorly to it. But whether it is natural dyes or any other part of the sustainability, everything is very important. Even a 1%, 2% replacement of the conventional industry, which happens through sustainability, will
Yes.
actually collectively lead to a massive impact. Right?
Yes,
It doesn't have to replace an entire industry. As long as there is some change, every change would matter and will
Yes.
contribute very meaningfully.
some ripple effect, some cascading effect, we don't know what. But if our intention is to do something about it, surely we'll find a lot of complementary solutions. Yeah.
If you go by numbers, it is we hear about organic cotton a lot in market, already there in fashion and everything. And we'll be surprised to know what is the percentage of organic cotton actually. If you compare the whole the amount of textile which has been produced, it is around 1% of the world productions, and it was less than 1% some time back, and I hope it has touched 1% now. So it is very, very, very small, organic cotton. So in comparison to that, the dyeing is still very small, absolutely. But even 1% of organic cotton is making quite a wave now when people are talking about it, trying to get better options. So there is always a start, and I think this start is very important. And we never want to change the whole world into a natural dye. Probably that could happen sometime or another lifetime. But definitely, I think 40-50% or 30 to 50% of production can definitely can be changed, as far as I understand.
Absolutely, sir. I think the strong point is at least there's been a start, which is very important. And because the size of the entire industry is huge, it's humongous. I think percentage terms may not be the right way to look at it. If we just look at the absolute value, right? Even 1% of $1,000 billion industry worldwide is a massive number. So absolute number agar बढ़ रहा है, that's what matters more. So at least the start is already there, which is great. My first question is for Namrata. Namrata, why Natural Color Festival? What are some of the achievements that you could highlight for us, till now, and some plans and objectives for the future?
Yeah. Why not Natural Color Festival? So Natural Color Festival is a celebration of natural colors. And the idea behind is to unleash the potential of natural colors. Natural colors are not yet known, not yet understood, and we don't know what the potential could be in fashion in our lives. So, and we do have some, conferences around natural colors, which is very common. We also have exhibitions and, events where people sell. But I felt that this is not enough to introduce the topic of natural dyes, because we are still understanding organic food and organic clothing. Natural dyes is yet very far away. So how do you endorse and understand something you don't know? So the festival is a combination. Maybe 70% of it is like hands-on activity and brands who are selling natural dyed things and all of that. 30% is movie screening, panel discussions, topics around water, and then education, workshops, and everything. And of course, performances in art. So I feel like all the things, when they come together, when a person, and we plan to do this in every city once. So if you've done once in Ahmedabad, we're not coming back before 100 cities are covered. So when we go to a city, we give a chance to the public to walk in this festival, where they look around, the whole decoration is in natural colors. There are posters, there is video, everything playing about what these colors are. Once they have visually seen it, they can actually go and touch it and play with it. They can block print, dye, they can do painting with it, they can get their face painted with it. Once they've done that, they can actually shop natural dyed clothing. And they can also attend this fashion show, panel discussion, music. So the aura of natural colors is all around you. And it is kind of, engaging with you in every way. That's what the festival is. And the second question was about the vision of Color Ashram.
Yes.
So Color Ashram wants to provide a dedicated training space for natural color application. I think the word application is really important here, because we do have institutes that teach about it. There are a lot of research places as well for these things. But I think this is not good enough if we cannot change the way we dress up, the way we have clothes in our wardrobe, and the way we sell clothes under our brand names. It has to be commercially viable. And that's where application becomes extremely important. So our whole focus is not to just get lost in the poetry of natural colors, as Arun keeps telling me, but also to give them skills and all kinds of support for using this in their lifestyle, in their life, in their work, and even in industry. So it's from individual to industry level, all kinds of application. And we also plan to go into schools and start with education itself. So if anybody wants to learn how to apply natural dyes to change the way they are wearing clothes, making clothes, this is the place. And our vision is to not be a physical brick and mortar place where of a university or an academy where everything is happening here, but it's to have this one place as one of your place where student comes in. Then they can actually go to NIFT Mumbai for a tie-up for some other course of other part, of the natural dye thing. So to have various collaboration with various institutes where the student travels throughout the country, learning from different places, maybe do internship with a person like Prerna, because we again thinking application, not theoretical things, not a degree, not just, research on 30 kinds of application of madder dye. No, how can you do it on 100 meters? How can you actually wear it? That's what our target is. So that's the idea, to have a lot of collaboration, collectiveness, form a community, and offer this to anybody who's willing.
Okay. Microsoft for the longest time during the early days had a vision, a desktop at every home. I think similarly, if we can make sure that har kisi wardrobe mein, at least if there is one piece of clothing,
Yes,
well,
yes,
I think that
yes.
itself would be a big contribution.
Actually, absolutely. And I mean, thanks to Arun's work with standardized dyeing, we do have those solutions where you can have a sachet of color. You get up today and instead of tea, you want to dye your t-shirt, and you can actually do it in a pot of water with one color. So it's a range of application for anybody who wants to go deep into making colors or just use color for their own self or an industry. Everybody's needs could be answered is what we are doing. Yeah.
Sure. So then my next question is for Arun. Since you spent significant time in this space, what is your take on the feasibility of mainstreaming natural dyes? And if you can share some, say, live examples for the audience to understand better.
So there has been looking at from what we have started in the earlier time. I had to a lot of convincing was required for brand to take on natural. On things became more easier. There are brands who are ready to take up natural dye. More than 500 clients work with supplying natural dye fabric to them. Small brand as such. The challenge is more on the corporate and bigger brands, because norms and terms are not easy to break from what they're already doing. So the challenge has been that, and yes, I feel there is a significant change happened throughout, especially in last 5-7 years I've seen. So there is definitely a scope of natural dye coming up as one of the major possibilities. And if I give you an example, we are working right now with Victoria's Secret, Decathlon, and I have worked with Levi's earlier. So all of them want to be having some part of the cake, though they may not adapt it totally, but they are trying to start somewhere. It's also very significant because that means there is some demand from people. They want something consistent, and when these corporate comes together and either one of them would take a lead on this, would be a very big opening for them as well as for market. I think I see a huge business opportunity also there, but some input, research, and dedication is needed to be doing that on larger scale.
Makes sense. And Prerna, just want to understand from you, because you're into design, what are some of the challenges of designing with natural dyes, and how does working with, let's say, natural dyes textiles impact design, if at all it does, whether it's design or marketing or perception? And also, how have you been able to connect with the audience of today? Are you been able to, or have you been able to kind of make them aware of why they should buy this against like a typical fast fashion clothing item?
So I think one of the major challenges when I started designing with natural dyes was the consistency that you're able to present to a consumer. With fast fashion, if you say, I'm ordering like 100 meters of something that's particularly dyed in like a particular like 86% red shade. If I want the same thing again with natural dyes, because you are taking the dyes from nature, that level of like precision and consistency is not possible. But that is the beauty of nature that I think I try to, teach my own consumers, saying, hey, imperfection is beauty. Like even when you're dealing with like, hand-loomed or organic cotton clothing, you look for the imperfections, which shows that there's a hand involved in the process of the clothing that is being made for you. But with challenges, I would say there are challenges when you're competing with the fast fashion industry, especially. I don't think I'm competing with the fast fashion industry at all. But in terms of clothing, when you say that, there are a lot of designs that require certain materials to be used to showcase certain types of designs, or like certain types of prints that showcase certain types of designs, which exactly cannot be replicated by using natural dyes. But we are working through other methods. For example, digital printing, your laser printing, and like puff paints and those kinds of prints, like your prints on t-shirts and things like that, with quirky quotes and things like that. So those are things we are trying to see how we can use, let's say, block prints but with natural dyes. Use screen prints but with natural dyes, and see how we can innovate, our own historically done processes for several years into modern textile and clothing. So with designing, that is the current challenge I'm facing. And as to like, enticing the customer or, making them part of the process, I would say is my tool for the past 2-3 years has been Reels, of course, with like Instagram and like, going ahead with
Content
the
basically.
content, basically content. But also I feel, Pratik, like a lot of people think the fashion industry is like a hidden thing. A lot of people are like, oh, it's somewhere up there, like, things are happening in secret, it's mysterious. I want to demystify the whole thing basically and show people what happens behind the scenes. I think also showing people the transparency of like who your money is going through. I've had people message me. I've been open to telling people how much, a weaver gets when they buy from me, how much does a spinner get when they buy from me, how much does a farmer get when they buy from me. Because I also work with an NGO called Tula, so in terms of like supplying fabrics and things like that. So the level of transparency I show customers, I've had people come back and tell me, oh, I'm able to ask this from a slow fashion brand, I'm not able to ask this with a fast fashion brand. What are they hiding? So I feel that is some change I've made there in terms of connecting with customers.
Oh, that's great. So basically, if a customer or a consumer is buying, let's say, 1,000 rupee, 2,000 rupee item, they know कि उसमें से how much is,
Yes,
XYZ,
yes,
like people in the
yes,
supply
yes.
chain, how much are they earning
Ha,
from it?
ha, ha, ha.
Nice.
So I think I teach people on my Instagram to ask questions that I know I will respond to, but I know for sure fast fashion industries do not have answers to questions like that. So yeah, it's a trick game, but it's fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
Abuli, since you're with NIFT Mumbai, NIFT has always been at the forefront of creating the next generation of entrepreneurs into the textile value chain, from like especially looking at design and fashion. Amongst these students, which are actually going to be the future of textile fashion, where do you see their perception of fast fashion versus slow fashion? And as an academician, either you or NIFT, are you being able to kind of shape their mind or perspective towards sustainable fashion?
Definitely. Current generation is quite interested into slow fashion. They are quite curious about sustainable fashion. And in 2018, we've launched new curriculum in NIFT. And in that curriculum change, we included sustainable fashion, sustainably related subjects and topics in almost every course we are offering. And I hope all of you know that there are 3 streams we have in NIFT: design, technology, and management. I belong to technology department. Unfortunately, very few people know that NIFT has a technology related department, BF Tech department as well. So the students of all the departments are equally getting exposure to sustainable fashion principles and practices through their curriculum. And in last few years, we see that so many students, they are coming up ahead and they are asking for opportunities in for internships in industries, companies which are focusing on sustainability. So some of, there's a live example, Prerna is NIFT Chennai student, and NIFT Mumbai, BFTechs, especially my department students, they have joined even organizations who are into traceability. So not only design, NIFT students are also in these other technical aspects of sustainability.
So I think the fact that you already have a formal part of it in your curriculum showcases how important this has become today. And
Yeah.
the more and more students get involved in this or encouraged by it, and we have a success story with us, Prerna, who's branched out and now pursuing something in this field. So which means the future is bright then.
Yes.
Definitely.
Nice. So I want to just ask a few common questions, and anyone can take the lead in kind of addressing it. The first one is, to what extent do you believe collaboration amongst that value chain from farmer to dye producers to manufacturers to fashion brands? So to what extent is this collaboration very, very essential for successful integration of natural dyes into the mainstream textile industry?
Can I take lead on
Sure.
yeah. I mean, Namrita and I started with collaboration. Aboli ma'am and I also started with collaboration. So did Arun and Namrita. And like all of us here on this call, with me at least, have started with collaboration. This is on the end level, but I would say even in terms of like weaving and farmers, I have noticed that a lot of farmers are not able to get, the GOTS organic certification, because all of that turns out to be very expensive. But because a few farmers that are very separate, they're working with an NGO who are, manually are able to check and clarify and certify all these things. You have some level of, confirmation that you're working with organic goods and all that. So in that level also collaboration works. In this level also collaboration works, in the sense we've been at this point able to build a community, host the Natural Dye Fest already twice. I was part of the first one very actively, and it is interesting to see how many people we can take this forward to. So, and I think collaboration is the way to go for things like that. So yeah, that is what I would like to add.
So I wanted to add that, collaboration is extremely important, because in conventional chemical textile world, it's been 150 years of, the work, and there has been, what do you call, monopolies, and there has been mafias, and all kinds of things are there, right? And this is a very new field. So here only if we work collaboratively can we actually have some strength to stand and be economically viable, like till it becomes a mainstream thing, and then the normal thing starts, which is a normal cycle of capitalism. Till then, I think we will have to work on collaboration. It's only built on good faith and understanding, because everybody has to do that extra bit, and only because they're passionate are they able to do it. Because if you look at the commerce, conventional things are always cheaper, because the true cost of fashion is really, in terms of money, it's very cheap. In terms of ecology, it's extremely expensive. So I think collaboration, the same kind of mindset, respecting each other's value and time and energy, I think is really important.
So then I think it's fair to say that creating a community of these producers is very important, which works on the principle of collaboration, where we understand each other's strength across the value chain and slowly start pushing for it.
Also, like Prerna said, certification by foreign bodies is extremely expensive. So even if people are doing good work, if there's a organization or a community that knows it's good work, it doesn't need certification, it's fine. Because if we go by certification, many people are removed from the system and they might be doing a lot of good work. Not necessarily people with money do good work. So
Right. Also, whenever there's a new start or something new is getting started, especially in an existing and legacy industry, creating the level of awareness which is required to create that pull from consumers is very, very important. Right. So, what are some of the efforts that are needed to educate both the stakeholders in the industry to create this community and more people joining the community, and to educate the consumers about especially the benefits, but also the challenges with natural dyes? Maybe we can have Arun speak about this because he spent us significant time in this segment.
So, so when you say collaboration chain, so it is like I would, for an example, if you are designing a car, there is an engine in it, there is a body in it, there's different part which has its own importance. So collaborating in a small for one or two things together makes sense. But if you want to create a product, a complete product, then you have to have somebody who is able to get all the collaborative effort together. So that is where the things are missing here. Like suppose, for an example, had there been a corporate or a bigger, even as in government also, I don't think everybody is doing a totally complete thing here. Everybody is concentrating on some part of it. If there is a good collaboration happening between a weaver and a farmer, but then the product which is made is been not sold very well, or it is not priced well, or it's difficult to sell. So the chain has to be right from the farmer to the branding, where the brand owner or the brand who is, I mean, the brand has to be that conscious on that stage where they bring all this collaboration together and create a product which is complete in itself, where a consumer can get a ready product in the shop which has everything in detail. We had tried to do in our own way. I know this is going to take time. We have a tag which will give it up with our product, which spells out from in a tag a consumer can scan and see the product where it was made, from cotton, growing cotton, to making the weaving, spinning, weaving, dyeing, stitching, including the bill number and the quantity of the material gone into making that one shirt, with the bill number as well and the batch number. So it can go as transparent as we want it to be. And once consumer get it, then there is a whole chain built. But it is not easy for us, for a person like us, to build it, because I'm working on another collaboration of technology, where my work is more on technology. But this kind of collaboration is needed, accumulated effort from all sides, including government, brands, has to come together with the farmers, with the producers, to create one unique product. And I'm sure this will happen very soon, because it's going to be a good business too.
Sure. Anyone else who would like to add to this? Like, what are some of the efforts or exercises that can be done to increase that awareness?
So I think the king is okay, maybe there are king and queen, maybe. King
See,
is
I can add
consumer.
one thing.
Yes,
Something like this, exercise that you guys are doing with the Natural Color Festival, right? I think that's a
yes,
great exercise because it's not just educative, it's entertaining, it's engaging. And the
absolutely,
moment it
absolutely.
becomes engaging and entertaining, people look forward to it. It's like, the 2-3 day fleas you have in different cities, which kind of pulls more and more
Yeah,
crowd. And if it's
yeah.
engaging, the crowd that it pulls kind of ends up subconsciously understanding the importance of natural dyes.
Bang on completely. So we completely understand that natural dye as a word, people have not seen companies, government talk about it, right? So the muscle memory of the product is not built yet. That's the reason why workshops are very important. Like we started around 10 years back doing workshops, because I think if you tell people this is natural color, it doesn't mean anything. They haven't seen people dyeing with natural dyes. So building that muscle memory. And also, I feel like the king is the consumer, because I think the government will only do it till the environment has gone so bad that there has been laws to put into place without offending anyone. The corporates will not do it till the consumer is demanding and is ready to pay more for it and is ready to take care of it, because natural dyes demand a certain care, wash care, So I think they want to sell, right? And that's fine. That's the way they work. But the consumer, if they start demanding, I think it should be a demand supply thing, as well as some support from the government to have not like 18% GST on natural dyes. It's it's already very expensive because the demand is so low and it's expensive to do. It's time consuming and everything. On top of it, you have a very huge tax. So some incentive from the government, but the consumers need to know about it, I think, because them not knowing, corporates are very happy. People don't know that there's poison in your clothes, there's toxicity in the water
Then
because of Jared, whatever does. So they are also sitting very comfortably. If the consumer knows, just like fashion revolution happened, I think color revolution can really happen, is what I feel. Yeah.
So let's say
I
someone who's
agree.
watching this and is interested in, getting into this side of the industry, which is natural dyes or sustainable, and they want to understand one, two, three, like, what are some of the things they can do to increase the awareness for their product or what they are doing. Someone, जो भी आप लोग ने आपके past experience में किया रहेगा, which has worked well, if you can just like share those experiences also. I think Prerna was saying something.
I was saying I agree with Namrita in the sense it is easier to go consumer first because I have seen, I've had mentors when I was studying in London who approach these fast fashion companies saying, hey, you can slow down a little bit, you can change a little bit. Now you have the money to, sort of stabilize or like slow down whatever you're working with. They're like, no, mujhe kyun, like I'm making money, I'm continuing to make money, why should I slow down? So I don't think the stakeholders are going to slow down anytime soon. It's the consumers that are going to change. And as Arun said last time, even as you said, 1% increase of the organic cotton in the market is because somewhere consumers are demanding, saying, hey, we want a slightly more sustainable future, so let us contribute and work towards that. So that is what I wanted to say with the previous discussion.
Sure.
Yeah.
Basically, if you can share a few activities or a few things that someone can do to increase this awareness.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that if there are at least even 2 or 3 entrepreneurs interested in this space watching this video, what can they learn from this, which they can then implement in their business, which also leads to increasing the size of this industry?
So I think first thing is social media is a very, very strong weapon now. Sometimes it used to be words and newspaper and journalism. Now it's social media. So I guess if people mention it on social media, that what do they learn about synthetic dyes? Because it's a very hidden area. It's not available everywhere openly that we have toxins in our clothing. So sharing things on social media and also liking and endorsing and actually buying products from natural dye brand, maybe one garment in your wardrobe, just one garment, if everybody starts buying, it will create a demand which will in turn bring corporate, government, everybody into it. So I think and when you buy that garment, I can tell you that you cannot compare it with H&M and you cannot compare it with anything else. Like you have to just endorse it, putting that faith that instead of buying 2 clothes, I'm going to buy one, but because I want to see this change in the world. So I'm not going to be a dyer, but I can at least endorse a brand who's using this. Secondly, I think to know the story of the brand a little bit. So don't go by just the certificates and all. And which are really, really important as well. But I feel that the story of the people who do this is very important. And for all the sustainable brands, word of mouth is the best way that they can actually publicize their work, because the marketing space is hugely expensive. And most of the sustainable brands do not have that kind of budget. We're not yet talking about corporates who can enter, who are doing this, right? People are startups, maybe students from Aboli's college, they are getting out because the youngsters are very keen on this. And they start off with something. It's a huge thing to go out and talk about and then market it also. So I guess that, supporting that and finding them out, talking about it, word of mouth, which is our very, very strong weapon, can be interesting. Also talking about how you feel about it. So this should not be a karmic thing that if you do this, you are right and evil, and then you do this, you are doing a good thing. It should be how you feel about it. Let's talk about that, because natural dyed clothing is extremely comfortable, very soothing to eyes, and it is really nice on skin. So those things, I think, talking about it, I feel is something that people can do.
I have one point here, Pratik. These entrepreneurs who want to start something related to natural dyes, they can actually take the opportunity of agriculture industry of India and food and processing industry. So like Arunji has the proper technology to convert the natural, those raw materials into inks or dyes. So there are a lot of there is a lot of waste which we are generating in terms of maybe that pomegranate trend or warehouses where onions are the peels are thrown before they are like transported to retail locations, and also a lot of that in that agriculture and food processing industry waste can be used in a large scale to increase the natural dye beyond its stipulated percentage right now and make it more mainstream.
Right. I think that's a good one because once you know these channels and approaching these channels, then of course the journey becomes easier.
I'll just add one more thing to that, if it's there. So the collaboration, the entrepreneur has a lot of potential possibilities here. The colors are used not only in textile; it is there on the wall, it is there on the wood, it's there on different surfaces. And what like Aboli ma'am said, that this is true that there are so many projects can happen. If you ask me, I have stand by 10-15 project I can design which will be highly profitable for any entrepreneur to come in. Because for an example, if you take watercolor used in the schools for children are actually with chemicals and poisonous. So this can be easily replaced with this. Like this, there are so many product which can be converted to natural color into a product which can go into consumers this thing. So there is a possibility of huge varieties of projects connecting to natural dyes, and we are working on this on Color Ashram, and very soon we're going to make a kind of a project this thing, this also for people to explore the possibility and help them to do it.
So showcasing the different applications of natural dyes, not just within textiles, but outside of this industry as well.
Yes.
Right.
As
Which is
someone who started
Also,
as a, I think, sorry, Arun, finish.
So there is food industry, there is cosmetic, there is wall paints, there is colors for wood surfaces. I mean, these all are big industries by itself. So there's a lot of things can be done there.
Sure.
I was saying, as someone who started a few years ago in like the very recent space, if anyone else that is watching that wants to start their own thing, I would say research and do your research, know your, history and understand it, and then study what it is in the current circumstance. And I think by now we have enough sources where, like for example, I went on a week's journey with Color Ashram. I learned how to apply and dye and block print and screen print with just Color Ashram. And with that, I was able to work on my next collection, which was all hand-painted textiles and all that into clothing, basically art on clothing, but with natural dyes. So I think, if anything, people have to learn the history, know the basic, and the foundation has to be really strong, understand how things are done, and then go someplace to, learn or apply. Because if they blindly go to a place to learn or apply it into their own business, they won't understand the entire story or the entire point of it all. Because sustainability cannot just be single faceted in terms of like just working with natural dyes. You have to understand in it, and I'm pretty sure Namrita will understand it. It is something that comes from the heart, but like you have to understand and know the entirety of what you're working with. It is not just one industry of clothing that you're working with. So yeah.
It is a kind of road, Robert Frost poem, I took the road less traveled. That's the
Yes.
kind of it is right now. So you need to have that, the drive should be from you, not from copying someone or someone else telling you what to do. Then you won't be able to. Yeah.
So, see, I'm not an expert in this space, but as a layman, I feel what I was discussing with Prerna before we started this roundtable is we've seen that in the cosmetics or the bath industry, there have been a lot of brands, or a lot of entrepreneurs who've been able to make like really promising brands by offering like non-cruelty, parabens free, this free, like very sustainable and very eco-friendly, or let's say environmental friendly products. If we were to look at textile, slow fashion, and natural dyes from the same lens, then today it's fairly easy to identify an audience which is interested in this space. Maybe you can look at the audience who are shopping for these bath or products, like everything from your toothpaste to your shampoos to your body washes, everything today you have the option to look at these kind of brand offerings, right? To identify that
Exactly.
bucket of audience which are already pro sustainability or pro environment. Second, use content to create that awareness, to tell them why, like, why you should do this and why you should shy away from the like fast fashion, or, or at least why you should have at least one piece of item in your wardrobe which represents sustainability and natural lives. So content is a great way to create that awareness of why, and then slowly start building the community. So we've seen even with say large textile companies, like for example, Aditya Birla Group, they have a program called Liva, Reliance Group, which has a program called Arilan, where they've been able to create a community of this entire value chain, which actually promotes, encourages, and creates that ecosystem for the product that they are desiring to. So I think that is something that someone can look at.
Yeah. I think
Also,
interaction is the way to go.
right.
Community building. Yeah.
Also, if someone can share either some insights or case studies from anywhere in the world where you've seen natural dyes, having successfully been integrated in the mainline textile production. If at all anyone has come across these kind of events across the world, and if we've been able to derive some learnings from it.
I think Arun's company itself, I mean, True Tone Inc., they've been functioning for 2 decades, and he's an industrial pioneer in natural dyes. And I've seen him make 500 thousands of meters for orders for clients, which, I mean, only seeing it was believing it, because usually natural dye, you don't see more than a few meters in handicraft industry. Yeah.
The thing is, the problem with any natural dye product, or anybody who wants to do natural dye product, is one thing they miss in the content is, because I've seen a lot of brands taking natural dye and then probably either stopping the business or changing it to something else also has happened because of few reasons which they have not understood. They thought that this will be a quick business and fast money making idea. This is not a money making idea. Whoever comes in that scale will never be successful in this. So that is why the consistency is required. Why I have survived is because there was consistency of what I was doing. I may not be rich, but I have always been paid for what I've done, and I'm happy with that. And likewise, there are brands who is consistently working with us also right now, maybe in a smaller scale, not as in corporate, but they are running successfully of what they can do. And that also, I mean, and recently also we like mentioned Aditya Birla, they have created a very big range out of our dyes, which also I hope that slowly the corporate is also getting into this cycle, and once they are more convinced and able to do it because they have better technology to imply the dyes than we can do it in hand with the natural dyes. So all this is helping to create that thing, which I see success coming very soon, if not too late.
Nice. Since we've discussed a lot of questions, there's a fun question I want to ask. If all of you had a gateway to a place famous for natural dyes, where would it be? And if you could organize like a team activity, which is very, with natural dyes, but very colorful, what would you organize?
We would go into deep forest. There's a lot of water, forest, and animals.
Nice.
I feel Holi should be entirely celebrated through natural dyes. Natural
Absolutely
dyes.
agree with you.
Yes. Yeah,
Because
that'll be
before
fun.
invention of synthetic dyes, we used to still do that, and it's
Yeah.
good for environment, it's good for us, and it's still fun.
Yeah, I think for me, I would love to go to any Asian country where there would be not, and maybe even Japan for that matter, because I think, and even Vietnam and all these sides, they have natural dyeing also very old and still being practiced someplace. So I think going to a remote place where somebody is doing this natural dyeing, continuing working with that kind of a person or community would be my fun way of doing it. Yeah.
For me, I think in India itself, one community I've been fascinated by is the Kotpad community in Orissa. They get really rich red hues in their dyes and all that. I've always wanted to go live with them for like a couple of weeks and like learn and see how they as a community function in terms of dyeing and weaving. They do the whole process, dyeing, weaving, ensuring the fabric retains the color and like all of that. And I want to work with that community as well. Otherwise, outside of India, I think I've also read of a lot of Japan and Indonesia, them working with indigo. I love the smell of indigo. I think, I don't know if a lot of people agree, but indigo is a smell either you love or you hate.
I completely.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
I mean, wherever you go for natural dyeing, what people really enjoy is the lifestyle of the place and the people who are
Yes.
working.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
also something to see and
Yeah.
experience. Without that, natural dye itself, I mean, I don't think you can remove both of them if you really look for authentic natural dye thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the fun part of it, enjoying the lifestyle, the kind of living. Yeah.
I think Mexico also does a lot of natural dyeing, and they also have a very community ingrained sort of living like we do, and a lot of generational informational wealth that has been passed on. So that will also be a great community to explore, I think.
Yeah, and so does Africa. Indigo and
Ah,
tapioca wax resist is their thing, and every tribe has a different kind of a print and indigo dye. And for them, indigo
mhm.
is something they even worship and they follow it for spirituality as well. So I happened to meet a person from that tribe who's now working in San Francisco as a big indigo artist, but he had come to the indigo convention in India a few years back. It's fascinating to hear the storytelling and the vibe that they have. He's from a Yoruba tribe. So I
Okay.
think the story along with the belief systems and the stories are very, very fascinating, along with understanding how they do it, why they do it. There's a lot of reason and science behind it. I mean, it's not just beliefs. Yeah. So
Great. So, I think a great way to conclude would be if everyone can take 2 minutes and share your thoughts on, again, the importance of natural dyes and like really, really deep diving into why is it really important for us to at least have that one piece of clothing in our wardrobe which represents natural dyes. Let's start with you, Abuli.
There are a lot of ill effects of chemical synthetic dyes and the chemicals which we use in regular normal mass manufacturing of textiles and apparel. And a lot of us, a lot of animals, we are facing issues because of it. And anyway, the other environmental issues are there, but the person who is wearing that garment is also facing health issues because of these toxicity of chemicals. So if we make people aware that certain classes of dyes are cancerous or certain types of these health issues are because of the toxic chemicals used in textiles and apparels we are wearing, they can be really motivated to buy more of natural dyed and organically treated clothing items. And then we can maybe have certain percentage. I will not say one garment, but at least we should have certain percentage of their wardrobe made out of naturally treated garments. I will not say organic entirely because organic fibers are not abundantly available, and maybe that is a different problem altogether. If we try to become entirely organic, we will not have place to grow our food and all, especially in case of cotton. But definitely the chemicals which we are using in the pre-treatment, in dyeing, in printing, in finishing, if we use more eco-friendly chemicals and natural dyes, a certain percentage of wardrobe, at least in India, we can think of replacing the mass manufactured and the chemical laden textiles and apparels.
Sure. Prerna?
I have a slightly controversial opinion on this, but I mean, everybody's views are very different. So I started this with saying, oh, it's for, Mother Earth and all of that. But then Earth will go on. We will destroy it and completely trash it, and then it will rejuvenate and grow itself, and it will come to 100%. If anything, I think the way to motivate people at this point is please do it for yourselves, for you to survive well for the next 100 years that you are on this planet. Or not 100, let's say you are alive for the next 50 years. Do it so that you are able to live satisfactorily. Earlier, I was in the view of, don't pollute and all of that, but then people don't understand the philosophy behind all of that. So people understand when it comes to hit them personally, and I feel like that is something that they will associate it with more if people start doing it for their own living. And as Aboli ma'am rightly mentioned, the amount of I learned only a year ago from Arun himself that any chemically dyed clothing that you're wearing has around 15,000 chemicals at any given time on your body, and I was appalled. So imagine if you're so careful about what you're putting inside your stomach. Has to be organic food. You're eating couscous, you're eating like red rice and all of that. But you're putting like chemicals on every day on top of your body, which is like through the skin, you're absorbing like so much chemicals, which is the largest organ. So do it for yourselves, guys. Like anybody, do the natural dye thing for yourselves. For your own like general health. People always say, oh, we don't know, suddenly he was so young, he died and all that. It's because of all the pollution you are causing that you are inhaling again, and and of course with the whole chemical thing that you're wearing, and all of that is generally affecting your own body and immunity. So I definitely think natural dye is the only way to go. I don't think there is any other way to go from here. And this one item per wardrobe is something with Origin Studio is what I started with. That's one of my goals as like a thing that I wanted to work with. So I don't see any other option other than natural dye being the only way to go.
I think it would be great if someone can come up with a study on the effects of wearing normal clothes with, as you mentioned, Arun has been saying कि कितने ज़्यादा
But
chemicals होते हैं, and then
हाँ,
compare that with if you wear something which is naturally dyed, then how does it feel? And if it also probably impacts on your mental well-being or the way you feel or how you feel,
हाँ.
this and that. That would be a great way to appeal to an audience with like real reasoning.
One thing that I can add on definitely is that there has been studies that I've gone through, but I'm not that scientifically inclined, so I don't fully understand. But they explain scientifically how sweat does not linger if you're wearing naturally dyed clothing. And I've seen it personally with my own experience. With anything that is naturally dyed, and I sweat profusely, and I can rewear something 3 to 5 times at least before I wash something that's naturally dyed. I can simply air it out and it will retain its smell. It does not start stinking. So yeah.
Then we need brands to talk about these things. I think that will be a great way to educate customers and create that pull.
Yeah, definitely.
Arun, you should go. You should go next.
So natural dye, we have tried all the trick or facts uh, uh, to educate customer, consumer, brands through me, other brands also. Whereas there are other points a lot of points which is there, which is not mentioned here, or we not talked too much about it, is also like, and some of them we have actually. Like for example, 15% of population has skin diseases. So it is very easy. I mean, everybody, some part of that, they will have some skin problem, which will always, natural dye fabric will help them to not have that. Then we have done studies on aura part of it, where you have the energy changes, which is again something which can be taken with pictures with this camera, which specifically captures energy. It does changes when you're wearing natural colors. Then you have there is a scientific proof that you can't. There are amines which comes out from chemical dyed cloth, which will come out for lifetime, and those and which is negative amines, which is bad for our skin and is also carcinogenic. Whereas chemical and natural dye would always have a healing or a positive amines coming to your skin. All these things we have tried, but nothing worked so much as far as I've seen. And the only thing which I feel the humans are here is they go for three things, which is food, shelter, roti, kapda, makan. So if you give them something on that, they will understand and they will follow. So most of the people are follower and they are blindly following. If some celebrity would say something or some advertisement, some glittering thing. So that is where personally my energy doesn't lie there. I'm not here to educate them or to educate these people because what we have been trying to do is create leaders who understand this, who can educate in a small way to other peoples, and if not educate or start a trend, because the followers will always follow a trend. So this trend has to be started where the masses can come in slowly and then they will feel proud and good about it. To educate them would may not or may come in time. I don't know. We are trying our best to do that though. So there is challenges in this, and but I'm sure if we speak about this regularly, the people are going to get influenced and they will move into doing something about it. If not buying, at least helping people who are doing such work.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think some great points for sure. Namrata?
yeah, I'd like to say textile uses drinking water to dye. This is our drinking water, and every t-shirt uses around 2,500 liters in its lifetime, which gets polluted and it cannot be cleaned completely. So it's our drinking water. Secondly, I think one story which I got. Yeah, I was saying about the screen printer I was talking to. He used to work in a chemical dye unit before that. He said that there our life is just 5 to 7 years because the smell of the synthetic dye is so strong. After inhaling it for 5 to 7 years, they lose their appetite and then nutrition goes down and their life is gone. Like, they just become sicker and sicker. So if you think about the people who work in these industries, I mean, on our clothes, on our skin, it affects, but to them, it is a very direct impact. So if we are Indians and we believe in the karmic theory of who all you are impacting. Their lives they are all potential cancer patients, actually, the people who work with this very hazardous dyes. So that's also one. And here they're very happy. They like the smell, the skin is fine, everything is okay. Even the tailors, when they're cutting, their hands have these sores from the chemical dye fabrics when they do that. And all of that does not happen when they work with natural dyed clothing. So if just by buying one piece of clothing, you could impact the life of people who work and make your clothes, that would be something really wonderful. Yeah.
That's great. I thank all of you to, take some of your time out, share the insights that you have and educate all of us. Very interesting conversation. I also learned a lot, and I hope everyone listening to this format would also end up learning a lot. And even if some of them convert into or realize the importance of natural dyes, I think that's great. So thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
everyone.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank you.
wish you all the best, Yarn Bazaar, and the work you're doing. I think it's excellent. These conversations are really, really important for us. So thank you so much.
They're important for all of us.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate. Take
Thank
care.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.